Silver and gold investors have been buffeted around lately, beat to a pulp, if we want to say that. We know in the last week, the price of gold has gone from an all-time high to less than $2,000 per ounce this morning. Silver not faring much better, $22.75 spot price right now. But what is happening this week? We are facing a crazy big week when it comes to data that will affect the price of silver and gold. Is the worst over for silver and gold investors? Let's talk about the big news events that will happen this week. And you better enjoy today, but it's kind of hard to enjoy today, isn't it? When you look at the price of gold and the price of silver and they're getting beat down. But is today the beat down, and will Tuesday and Wednesday deliver as big days for the precious metals prices? Could we, basement dwellers? All we asked for from Santa for Christmas was $2,100 gold. Where is it? There it is right there. Will Santa deliver for us this year? We forgot when we wrote our letter to Santa to tell him that we wanted gold above 2,100. He delivered on that a little early, but we want it to stay above 2,100. And at this point, we're fighting for 2,000. But what is going on this week? And can we pull it all together? Can we make sense? That's what we want to do, make sense of all this data that's going to be coming at us. Okay, so I say enjoy Monday, because Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be very volatile days. We're hoping for volatility to the upside. Let me read this quick quote to kind of give you an idea of what's going on right now. It says, the cautious mood in the market comes as investors brace for two events that could set the tone for stocks, and this is true for silver and gold price as well, into 2024. November's reading on inflation. We're going to get that on Tuesday. What is that going to tell us? What will that mean? How will that affect the price of silver and gold, right? Our favorite subject. And on Wednesday, we're going to hear from our old friend Jerome Powell at the United States Federal Reserve about monetary policy, interest rate policy. So Tuesday, inflation. Wednesday, Jerome Powell. If we're still alive on Thursday and Friday, God knows what they can throw at us. There's always some little extra secret bonus piece of data. But guys, Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be huge. And we're going to talk about what we can expect and how the market will react. Okay, jobs data. Let's review for a second. On Friday, bolstered hopes that the Fed could score a soft landing for the U.S. economy, burdened with historically high borrowing cost. Now, the focus is shifting to the CPI, the inflation report, again on Tuesday, and the Fed, which will be on Wednesday. So here's what we know so far, okay? And this is what's affecting the silver price and gold price. We got our jobs data, non-farm payrolls on Friday, 199,000, almost 200,000 jobs were created, okay? Better than expected, quote unquote. That is giving the market the impression that the economy's strong, right? The economy's good. Everything's great out there. Now, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Everything's not great out there, but the Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported that we had good jobs numbers, better than expected. And again, that makes market participants think that the Fed still has room from which to remain very cautious, very tight, very hawkish with monetary policy. Tighten the range because the economy's strong and they're on this supposed fight against inflation. Most people, I don't know how you feel about it, but most people feel like the actual numbers that come out of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics are, let's just say, suspect at best. Nonetheless, it does impact the price of the metals. What about the inflation data? We got big inflation data coming out on Tuesday. How will that play in? Okay. High is bad. If we get a high inflation reading, if the inflation numbers continue to be on the high side, that will have a negative impact on the silver and gold price. And we've talked about this. It's crazy because silver and gold are a hedge against inflation. Nonetheless, in this upside down world in which we live right now, if we get high inflation numbers tomorrow, that's bad for the price of silver and gold. Low is good. We ironically want to see low inflation numbers. I suspect that we are going to get low inflation numbers. I'm hoping and I'm feeling right now, although I wouldn't make any financial bets. I don't want you, this is not financial advice, but I have a feeling that the inflation numbers are going to come in lower than expected. We've had oil dropping. We have the economy slowing down. And if we have lower inflation numbers, that's going to signal to the market primarily that the economy is slowing down and that the Fed is, going to need to respond to a slowing economy in 2024 because all the top analysts are predicting one degree or another of kind of economic gloom. I'll say it. Some people say doom in 2024. So again, it's opposite of what we would usually expect, but we want to see silver and gold investors tomorrow a low inflation number. That will put the value of the dollar down. That will put the value of gold and silver up, up, up. Turnaround Tuesday. Is it possible? Let me ask you, my fellow basement dwellers, if you think we could have a turnaround Tuesday that could lead us back to the path of Santa Claus, giving us $2,100 gold by Christmas. Type TT. I did it. Double T. Turnaround Tuesday for the metals. We've been beat. It feels like, how do I say this? We had a micro correction in the price of silver and gold. It feels like we got punched in the gut. Does it feel that way to you? But does it also maybe feel a little different? Now, you've been through, if you've been invested in the precious metals over the last couple of years, we like to call it the valley of doom, the valley of death, whatever. I mean, it was horrific to be invested in the metals over the last, 2.5, almost 3 years, right? This feels bad, but it doesn't feel like they completely destroyed momentum. Now, I'll just be honest with you, right? I follow this very closely, and I think a lot of you do as well. If we get a print in the gold price into the 1800s, $100 or so less than we are now, I will lose some enthusiasm. But for now, I feel like what's happened is kind of like a micro correction, right? Everything, the price goes up. Nothing goes straight up. Now, wouldn't it be nice if it did? If gold just went up, 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 up forever and ever. But nonetheless, it goes up, maybe it pulls back. It goes up, it pulls back. That's what we're in right now. One of those little pullbacks, and it will continue up, up, up. Oh my gosh, I just see myself on the screen. I'm not pointing at you, but I want to tell you, thank you for being here. You're awesome. 100 thumbs up. Hey man, I didn't even have to ask. For those of you who are just joining, right down there's a thing that looks like that. Press that for thumbs up. When we get to 100 thumbs up, like we're at right now, we got 250 people with us. I will ring the bell 10 times. We have achieved that goal, basement dwellers. Congratulations. This is the 3-second warning for the bell. I'm going to ring it 10 times, and I'm going to smile while I do it. So that's part one of what will be a big, big week for the metals prices, okay? We know the employment BS numbers, right? Okay. Tomorrow, we're going to hear about inflation. That's going to have a big impact. But Wednesday is the big, big deal. And let me circle back on something about inflation, because we're seeing this now mentioned more than ever. Actually, I just heard that in China, right, the second biggest economy in the world, they're not having inflation, they're having deflation. And all these world economies are connected. We know the CEO of Walmart said he's seeing deflationary pressures that could bleed through to the prices at Walmart. I know, our favorite store, right? By the end of December. Just to remind you, Nothing makes the Fed freak more than deflation. Okay. That's like kryptonite to Superman. I think I got that right? Right. The Fed will freak. The Fed will print if indeed. Right. So tomorrow, hey, thank you, Robert, for the super chat, my friend. What'd you say there? What'd you say? $100 silver in 2025. Yeah, I'm with you. You know who else thinks that? That guy, well, he doesn't think $100 silver, but Jeff Christian, who a lot of people in the silver and gold community don't like, but he's with CPM Group. He has does real data specific. I think he was with Goldman Sachs at one point. He's talking about good prices for gold, and that means silver as well, into 2024 and into 2025. We'll see if we can get to that 100, buddy. I'm rooting for you. And I'm a believer, but I always want to caution everybody, don't make financial decisions based on anything that I'm saying. So on Wednesday, we get to hear from our old friend Jerome Powell, Mr. Monthly. Is it every month? I think they skip a month every once in a while, but our old friend Jerome Powell, I think I got it straight. I was by mistake. I'd called him Gomer Pyle a couple times. Jerome will be out on Wednesday with the Federal Reserve's monetary policy decision, which will impact the gold and silver market, will impact the overall markets. What are we going to expect, huh? What do we expect? Basically, a big nothing burger. Wouldn't it be great if they cut rates? They're not going to, right? There's always a little bitty chance, right? I think we might actually love Jerome for a day or two if he does cut rates, but they're going to do nothing. They're scared, okay? He knows the economy is slowing like never before, okay? He knows what's being faced in 2024. Here's something that nobody has said before, and I'm going to say it. Okay, I'm going to say it right now. We know that it's smoke and mirrors that's going on with the economy. It's all make-believe, unicorn fart dust. It's all smoke and mirrors, okay, until everybody realizes that the entire funhouse is on fire, right? You ever been inside of a funhouse at a fair? I remember when I was a kid, we'd have these, I went to Catholic grade school, and we'd have these fairs, and there'd be a funhouse and smoke and mirrors. Hey, Shadow Work, thank you for that super chat, my friend. Much appreciated, especially in a very difficult silver and gold environment. But you'd be inside the funhouse, and reality is different. It seems you got the funny mirrors, you got the smoke and everything else. Right? And it's all smoke and mirrors. It all kind of seems real. But what about when everybody realizes that the entire funhouse is on fire and they run for the exits? Where do you think they're going to run? I think they're going to run to precious metals. Right? Why wouldn't they? We know, right? The safe harbor investment of the millennium, of thousands of years. And if you want to get your hands on some silver and gold now, or some point in the future, I might recommend you check out channel sponsor Pimbex, Pimbex. They're an online bullion dealer. They sponsor this channel. They make this possible. Dig in, do your own due diligence, listen to other basement dwellers, right? Listen to what other people say. Make sure you trust the company that you're buying your silver and gold from. I did my due diligence on Pimbex about a year ago, and I felt very comfortable, and I've felt very comfortable with every transaction I've done with them. But what's even more important to me is, well, not more important, but as important, is price. Maximizing the amount of metal I get for each unicorn fart dust, paper, fiat dollar that I convert from paper into real metals. And I've found that with Pimbex, I always get the best price. I get the most metal for my money. Check them out, Pimbex, Pimbex.com, the online bullion dealer. What will Jerome say? Listen to this. What will he say on Wednesday? Right? Because at this point, we know, right? We know. Don't listen to what he says. You can listen, but don't take him seriously. Do I need to? It's been about 2 weeks since I've reminded us, right? I forgot. We forgot about something with Jerome Powell. This is the same Jerome Powell that like 2.5 years ago, guys told us that they weren't going to raise interest rates until the end of 2023. That's right now. If we listened to what Jerome said 2.5, 3 years ago, right, we'd still be at 0% interest rates. We would be right now saying, oh, the Fed's going to meet this week and they might raise interest rates for the first time. Why would we listen to what he says? Isn't he's the same guy that said inflation is not a problem? Oh, inflation is temporary. Oh, inflation is transitory. And it's not just him, his buddy Janet Yellen, who used to be the Federal Reserve chairperson before she became the head of the Treasury. Isn't it funny how those things work out? How the musical chairs they play, right? Right. So why do we want to listen to what he says? Would you listen? It'd be like if you had a spouse or a partner, whatever, a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, and they cheated on you like 3 times. Wouldn't you stop believing what they say? And I propose that maybe we want to do that same, use that same approach with what we hear from the Federal Reserve. Let's judge them on their actions, and their actions as of late have been to pause interest rate hikes, period. Okay? Why would they be doing that? Well, they're fighting inflation, blah, 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 blah. I think they might be the only people who talk more than me. But nonetheless, right, they talk. Listen, okay, but watch and put weight on what they do, which has been paused. So I think we could have Turnaround Tuesday. I think we could get some lower inflation numbers tomorrow. Okay, who knows, right? These guys, they're throwing out BS like we've never seen before. And that we could have a turnaround this week in the silver price and gold price. I'm not saying I'm super confident of it, but it feels like to me we kind of been beat up here, right? Right? And that we're again building up a good base from which we could see a decent rally in the silver price, in the gold price. I don't want to say that by Friday, but by Friday, I think we could be talking about a better price. If I'm wrong, I'll come on here and eat crow. Okay, I'm wrong about where we are right now. I was rooting and saying we could get $2,100 gold by Christmas, but we forgot to say that we needed to stay above 2,100. So, that is awesome. Hey guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's a big deal that you're here with me right now. If you love, let me ask you a question. Do you love to talk about silver and gold? Do you love to dig in a little deeper? Do you love to try to find the forest through the trees? I hope you do. I hope you enjoy your time here. It's a big honor to me right now that you're joining me. Over 300 people on a Monday morning. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We're on a big drive to get to 31,000 here by the end of the month. And don't forget, we got a giveaway on Christmas Eve, this beautiful quarter-pound American Silver Eagle round will be given away. There's a link in the description of this video and all my videos that will bring you to a little video. It's 1 minute long. Leave a comment on that video, and on Christmas Eve, I'm going to give that. Maybe you can win it. Okay, let's just talk about some crazy things going on with the metals right now. Okay, let's talk. You know what? Let me ask you a question. I got to be honest with you. I do believe that by Friday, we could be back to $2,100 gold. I believe it's like a 27% chance. I'm going to put that in the comment, 27. Okay. What percent chance do you think we have that by Friday we could be back above $2,100 gold? I'm a believer. I'm sorry. An eternal optimist. Some people may call me a pumper, whatever. That's fine. Even Jeff Christian says we're headed towards new great prices in gold next year. Hey, let's take it right now. What do you say, guys? Huh? It can happen. Silver at, what was it? Before I came on, 20. Let me look at silver. Let's look at the silver price. I'm going to give you a live update. I know. I'm so generous. Hey, silver's 22.86. Silver's only down 20 cents, right? Silver's going to blow up. But let's talk about some incredible facts about silver and gold. When we talk about gold, we know we either have or have recently had all-time highs in US dollars, okay, in China, in India, in Thailand, in Japan, in Korea. We're having new all-time highs in gold everywhere in the world. One thing we can say for sure, and I learned this, I remember reading this, and like when something makes sense to you, like when like the light bulb goes off. I still got a few light bulbs up here. And I remember when this light bulb, I read this years ago. It said that when anything goes to a new all-time high, whether you're talking about oil, whether you're talking about Apple computer stock, whether you're talking about the price of orange juice, whether you're talking about the price of bread, right? But anyway, nonetheless, when something goes to an all-time high, statistically, the odds are that it will continue to go to newer and newer and newer all-time highs. We're getting new all-time high in gold around the world. Gold leads our good friend silver. We love our silver, right? So let's keep that in mind. Also, last week we had the third week in a row, 3 weeks in a row, where gold closed above $2,000 per ounce. That's a big deal. Maybe we don't want to talk about the fact that gold's below $2,000 an ounce right now, but it has closed the last 3 weeks above $2,000 per ounce. That's a good deal. Are we going to close above $2,000 an ounce this Friday? Are we going to close with gold above $2,100 an ounce? I know I'm crazy. I said there's a 27% chance. I really believe it could happen. I listened to this guy, Jeffrey Christian. Again, he's with the CPM group. There's some people, like I opened my mind that he's not a permabull when it comes to the precious metals prices. Okay. And some people don't like him. I understand. But I'll listen to him because I think he does some good work and some good data. He talked about the Sunday night. This is interesting. The Sunday night all-time record high. Do you know what happened last Sunday night? We got the 2150, whatever it was in gold. Okay. He pointed out that it was thousands of trades when the COMEX opened at 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay, and you guys, a lot of you remember, it was exciting. Susie came running to me and said, "You're not going to believe gold's up $60 or whatever it was." That when the COMEX opened at 6 p.m. Eastern time, it wasn't just one trade. It was thousands of trades in 30 minutes that drove the gold price up to that level. Okay. I think I'm not putting words in his mouth, but I wrote this down as I was listening to him. That's a taste of things to come. Remember what we just talked about, right? When things get to new all-time highs, they typically continue to make newer and newer and newer all-time highs. When things get to all-time lows, they typically continue to make new all-time lows. But the good news for us silver and gold investors is that gold, which will lead silver, did make an all-time high, okay? And he says it's a taste of what to expect in 2024. That's like, 4 weeks from now? And 2025. That would be like 56 weeks from now, if my math is correct. And that gold also set records in many of the previous years, 2020, 2021, 2022, now 2023, okay? Let's talk about a very interesting fact about silver. And thank you guys for all the super chats. We're almost at 200 thumbs up, which will be the cowbell ringing, your favorite part of the show, Basement Dwellers. That's where we celebrate each other. But nonetheless, silver is lags gold. And when it catches up, okay, you guys like when I say this, but gold's like a little drama queen or drama king, very sensitive, very delicate. Silver will be throwing a fit, okay, like a 3-year-old who's not getting a lollipop at the gas station when you're on a road trip. we used to go on road trips a lot when my daughter, I have twin daughters that are now 11. And I would strategically plan stops along the way so that I could avoid gas stations because they would throw a fit if they didn't get to buy a piece of candy. And that's silver. As it catches up to gold, it's going to throw a conniption fit. Okay? It's going to catch up to gold and it's going to overtake gold in terms of its return. So that's what we have to look forward to. Rick Rule said this, and it was another light bulb moment for me. Be prepared, if you haven't heard me say this already, that you might be in for a light bulb moment, okay? But first, before I give you the Rick Rule light bulb moment, I'd like to see us get to 200 thumbs up. We're at 195. You know, I'd like to ring this bell. I don't know, is it broken? I'm not sure. Can we get to 200 thumbs up so we can celebrate each other, my fellow basement dwellers, us warriors in the precious metals sector, who all we want for Christmas is $2,100 gold and for it to stay there? Yeah. Okay, we got 200 thumbs up. That's the bell warning. I think my internet is slow. Thank you, basement dwellers. Woof, that thing is loud. I understand. It brings my head is ringing right now. What did Rick Rule say that makes us very happy as precious metals investors? And what did Jeffrey Christian say that relates to this same thing? Okay. They both, and Christian kind of said this like, what happened last Sunday when we went shooting up could have been partly manipulation. Okay. When gold went to a new all-time high last Sunday. Wow, thank you for that super chat, Stephen. Good morning, the Gold Coast of Australia. It's I can listen. Hopefully, I don't put you to sleep, my friend in Australia. But welcome and thank you for the super chat. I'm glad you're here. So that Sunday night, last Sunday, all-time high in gold, could have been, right, it was in a thinly traded environment, right? There wasn't a lot of activity. And people say, well, it was thinly traded, blah, blah. It's the only reason it shot. Well, what Jeff Christian said, and this goes along with the light bulb I'm going to give you from Rick Rule, was that it could have been some manipulation to clear out some of the shorts, right? To take out the stops that people had, right? They know it's thinly traded, so they can move the market in a huge way. Now, what did Rick Rule, I heard him say this a couple weeks ago, and this has to do with silver. Are gold and silver manipulated on the COMEX and the LBMA? What do you think? Huh? All right. I say yes. Tell me what you think, yes or no. But what Rick Rule said and was music to my ears and lit up 1.5 light bulbs up there inside that brain of mine was the fact that as we go into the future, and I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth, but this is what I heard him say, as we move into the future, the path of least resistance for manipulation in the metals, because of all these confluence of factors that we've talked about ad nauseum, right? All the reasons why silver and gold should be going higher, that over the last 50 years, the manipulation it was easier to manipulate the price down. Now, as the macro environment, as the weather has changed, as everything is different, as now we have all these supportive factors for the metals, it's going to be easier for the metals to get manipulated upwards. And I don't like manipulation one way or the other, but I'll tell you what, we do deserve a little upward manipulation. Could it get manipulated upwards through December 25th? We got 2 weeks. I think it can. Like I said, I just raised it. It's not 27%. Excuse me, my nose ditch. It's 28% chance. Guys, we could be in for some really, really great times, okay? We're going to keep an eye on the dollar. Yeah, and does it make you mad when you hear people talk about, oh, the dollar index? Well, the dollar index dropped by 4% in November. Yeah, that's great. That's not the real value of the dollar. Let me tell you something. The dollar's dropped like 97% since they started the Federal Reserve. The dollar has dropped by what? You go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station, you pay rent, you pay a mortgage, right? We have our basic, everything's gone up 30% in the last 3 to 4 years. I'd say the dollar has gone down by 30%. And guess what? The metals haven't caught up yet. And we know gold will catch up in the long run. And when gold catches up, silver's going to catch up like rocket fuel, like it drank one of those energy drinks, and it's going to be a very, very good day. 24%, okay? That's not my chance of us getting that new all-time. 24% of central banks in the world, right, responded yes to the question, are you going to increase your gold holdings in 2024? Central bank gold purchasing, which will impact the silver price, is continuing at a very, very strong pace. Okay. Thanks to our other sponsor, First Mining Gold, Canadian gold development company. Check them out at www.firstmininggold.com. If you have any questions, reach out to Paul Morris. I've got a link to his email address in the description of this and every other video. 24% of central banks are going to increase their gold holding. Okay. Listen to this. 2022, we know, was an all-time high. Not a high, not, no. 2022 was an all-time high in terms of central banks buying gold, but it's crazy. They bought about 1,000 metric tons, and 2023 is shaping up maybe to be even better, right? We still have a few weeks left, but maybe even better. But 2022, those 1,000 metric tons of gold that the central banks bought, that's equal to 25% of all the world's mine output for the year. Central banks bought 1 in 4 of every ounce of gold that was dug out of the ground in 2022. How's that for a fact? That's not the light bulb. The light bulb was Rick Rule telling us that now, because things have changed, manipulation's easier to the upside. But that's a stunning fact, in my opinion. Out of every 4 ounces of gold that got dug up in that year, 2022, of 1 in every 4 went to a central bank vault. Why? Why? China's continuing to buy gold, and this is interesting. The Chinese, I'm hearing this more and more, are sucking the silver out of the world at an ever increasing rate. Okay? So the short term downward price manipulation will only make the long-term true price discovery for gold and silver more extreme, right? Let's face it, basement dwellers, right? What we've seen in the last 1 week, this has been 1 week. Let me look. Let's look. Let's just take a look right now. Hold on 1 second. Okay? Bear with me. Right now. Okay? $1,982 is the price of gold. I think we basically in 1 week have gone down $200 per ounce in the price of gold. And that stinks. That's painful. Okay? But we're okay. We're fine. Hey, no problem. My confidence in metals has not been as yours. Has your confidence in the precious metals been shaken over the last week? Because that's a big move. That's a crazy that's like a 10% move in gold. Okay? Has your confidence been shaken? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no again. No, mine has not been shaken. Has your confidence been shaken? I don't think it has, right? I don't think that the central banks of the world are saying, "Oh, we better get rid of our gold because it went down by 10% in the last week." I have a feeling that the central bankers are saying, hey, why don't we buy a bunch of gold? These manipulators in the West are continuing to keep the price down. They're giving it to us on sale. You can buy gold 10% cheaper right now than you could have a week ago. I mean, imagine if last Sunday night you told people, hey, hold on for a week, you'll be able to buy gold 10% cheaper. They wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have believed you. None of us would have believed. But Andy Schectman talked about this in my recent conversation with him. These volatile moves are usually, and I'm using this word that I don't really know what it means, presage, Presage. I don't even know if that's a word. They're future indicators of potential big moves, that before big moves happen, there's oftentimes a lot of volatility. I'd say we've got a lot of volatility right now. So it could be a sign that we're headed for big moves. Jeff Christian, for crying out loud. He's saying we're going to be looking at massive moves in the gold market. This guy is a lot of times very negative on gold. So 2024 is shaping up to be just an incredible, crazy year, employment numbers. I mean, have you seen the analysis on these that's the last leg of the stool. That's the last leg holding everything up. The great employment picture, right? But when you look at payroll tax receipts, when you dig in, and you guys know, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. The employment picture isn't that great. And I still say, I don't know how you feel about this, but and maybe employment is so good because people are so desperate, right? So desperate for money just to make ends meet, just to be able to buy their kids a decent Christmas present, right? People will do anything. Are they counting the guy that works now 16 hours a week driving for Uber on the weekends so that he can buy his 8-year-old son a Nintendo Switch? Are they counting that as a new job? Right? I mean, it's just it's a sad state of affairs where this country has gotten itself. I'll leave it at that. And I'm going to say it again because, guys, we look out into the future. When you look out into 2024, what are you seeing? Okay, let me give you an example. Because Wednesday we've got Jerome in the Federal Reserve. Let's say Jerome had told us the truth over the last few years, which he didn't, because he said he was never going to raise rates until the end of 2023. So let's say for the first time, right, we're at 0% interest rates. Let's say on Wednesday would have been the first interest rate hike, and let's say he did half a basis point, 0.5%. It takes 12 to 18 months for that to feed through to the economy. We can't underestimate the fact that we are right now in the storm of feeling the lag effect of all those interest rate hikes that went on over the last 24 months, 28 months, however long it's been. And as we hit it into 2024, as the reverse repo facility, if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. It basically means a bunch of free money, smoke and mirror facility that they have at the Fed that they've been using to buy bonds, that's running out, right? All these things are coming together. People are talking about the potential next year of the CBDC being rolled out. All I can say is buckle up, because 2024, when you listen to what I think are the fact-based people out there, the people that are willing to not just believe every little thing they hear, they're saying that 2024 is going to be a real challenge. Did you hear this? Remember Al Gore? Remember COP28, right? I'm still waiting to hear about COP28. That's where they're supposed to propose that they're going to triple the amount of green energy power generation before the year 2030, which would just even more explode the demand for silver. But nonetheless, that's not my point. Al Gore. Yes, that Al Gore. Now, this is not a political show, but I guess he's not been vice president for a number of years now, so I can say that I found myself generally not to be very fond of Al Gore over the years, but nonetheless, I digress. If you like him, that's great, right? This is not a religious or a political show, but nonetheless, Al Gore is at this COP28 conference, and you know what he says? He says basically we need to get rid of any alternative media channels, like me, right? I mean, look, I give you the news as I see it. I give you my view on what goes on. I also always recommend you to go to a number of different other sources, develop your own thesis, and share, right, on an open forum. If you don't agree with me, that's fine, share. But Al Gore basically said at this COP28 conference, like, we need to get rid of any alternative, I forget how he said it, but anyone who's not mainstream media, we need to get rid of them because they're a threat. And the algorithm is a threat. And anything that's social media related is a threat, right? Like, we just need to only let people hear what we think they should hear, and anything else should be squashed, basically. I think that's a real threat. I think most people like you and me want to hear from a number of different sources. I'm wrong all the time, Al. I'm the first to admit it. I don't come on here and say, this is the word, this is the way, believe us, right? And I think you're that way too, right? You listen to me, you listen to other people. Really upset me when I heard him say that, like, oh, we need to get rid of anyone who doesn't go strictly with what the mainstream thinks everyone should see. I think that's maybe a little more dangerous. I think if we look at history in times when there hasn't been, I mean, there's a First Amendment. Somebody needs to talk to Al. There's this thing called the Constitution, Al, and it gives us freedom of speech. People don't have to agree with me. You guys, you don't have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you. That's okay. That's what we're here for. And if you, oh no, I'm dying. Excuse me. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. Actually, I like it because it gives us an opportunity to learn from one another. Okay. And I think it's more dangerous to shut people down just because they don't go along with some strict adherence to what's going on. It's in the Constitution of the United States. What else is in the Constitution? Who can answer that question? What else is in the Constitution? Huh? Who can guess? I'll type it in there then. Nobody can guess. You know what's in the Constitution? That gold and silver, your founding fathers. Now, I was shocked when I learned this, and I really would recommend that that you educate yourself on this fact. You know, the founding fathers were looking out into the future, looking out, hundreds of years when they wrote the Constitution. But these guys that wrote our Constitution, they were subjected to some horrific, torturous almost situations. Their farms were burnt down. Some of their wives and kids were kidnapped. I mean, it was an ugly, ugly time. These guys really went through a lot to give you and I the rights that we have as American citizens. But one of those was that they wrote about silver and gold in the U.S. Constitution. Florida is forwarding legislation. New Hampshire is forwarding legislation. Missouri is forwarding legislation to allow you, citizens, and it's growing across the country, Texas, Utah, there's already some states that have done it, to protect your right to use gold and silver as legal tender, to protect your right to have an option outside of whatever system we may get here in the near future. Guys, can we do it today? We got 400 people. Can we get you guys want to get to 300 thumbs up and hear the gong? If you want to hear the gong, type gong, please. G-O-N-G. I want to hear the gong. Type gong. Otherwise, we can forget about it. But if we get to 300 thumbs up, remember that button's right there. I will ring the gong. That gong. Where's the gong? That gong. Huh? Yeah, I'll do the gong. But you know what? I got a challenge for you. This is the Coin Shop Chris timer. When we're making videos and I start to talk too much, he makes me flip this timer. There you go. We got 2 minutes to get to the gong. You see that? We got 287. Can we do it? Come on, basement dwellers. Let's have a little fun, huh? We can get to 300. I know it. Look, the sand is... Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. We've only got so much time. Don't forget the thumbs up is right down there. This could be big news for the silver and gold market. I'm telling you, these depositories and these state-regulated, state-run gold and silver-backed currency potential, it could create massive. And what are the states doing it? Texas, right? Florida, right? These are the innovative states that are growing. Oh my gosh, we're running out of time. Can we get to 300 thumbs up? These are the big states with big growing economies. Do you know Florida, if it were its own country, would be the 15th largest country in the world? I mean, it's for real, guys. And if we're talking about state depositories, we got the 300 thumbs up. Thank you. I'm going to ring the gong. I'm not going to leave you hanging. But if we've got the 15th largest economy in the world, the state of Florida, okay, potentially having a state depository that will also have asset-backed digital currency, real digital currency backed by gold and silver, right? Auditable, that are redeemable, that if you want to go get your metal, you can show up and they'll give you your metal. It's very exciting. It's maybe a time in history where we're going back to what made this country great. That's what I feel like. I got to ring the gong 3 times for you. I can't believe we did it again. 3 rings. All right, guys. I want you to have a great day. I appreciate the support. Please, like I said, we're trying to get to 31,000 subscribers. Consider subscribing. But most important, it's a big honor when you join me here in the basement. We love this subject. Hang in there. Hang in there. Let's see what happens here through the end of the year. I think we could be in for some interesting price moves in the coming 2 to 3 weeks, but especially in 2024. I think we're going to be real interested and have some real fun. Take care, and I'll see you next time.